Unit 6 Travel, a journey to the Himalayas.
How about joining Richard Vaughan trekking along one of the world's most perilous highways? No, not the M25. This is the Karakoram Highway over the biggest mass of mountains in the world in northeastern Pakistan. This road, which is notoriously susceptible to landslides and subsidence and is therefore very dangerous, follows one of the ancient silk routes from China to the valleys of the Indus, Gilgit and Hunza rivers. Richard travelled it on foot and by Land Rover in reverse, just to make it even more difficult. When I say in reverse, I mean from India to China, of course.
This is the Hunza Valley, which is so breathtaking, it's almost too perfect. There's an enormous river gorge below us, maybe 700 or 800 feet. I can barely stand to look. The colours, it's late autumn, and the colours of the trees it's like something by Turner. Orange and red, just explosions of colour all over the place, yellow, green. And the whole place, the whole Hunza Valley is just ringed with peak after peak after peak, just these monstrous things.
This is Karelt village. I'm in an orchard, an apricot orchard, on the banks of the River Hunza.
Yes.
And as you can hear, there is music going on. A festival is taking place.
Yes, sir. Annual festival of Aga Khan. Yes, sir.
All the villages here.
Yes, all the villages here.
And I gather that's your uncle who's dancing at the moment, huh? That's your uncle.
Yes, the locals are dancing here.
Yeah. Just above the village of Karimabad is the great monument of the Hunza Valley, and that is Baltit Fort. Some 800 years old, it's reckoned. Now it's deserted. Until a few years ago, it was occupied by the Mirs, that's the rulers of this area. 45 years ago, they gave up this fort. Today, it's under renovation. It looks exquisitely attractive in its curiously stark fashion. It stands on a bluff which commands the whole valley, and it was from here, of course, that the Mir, the ruler, could sort out any problems that were going on amongst his people. What is it we're looking for here?
This is the place we get small pieces of garnet.
No.
There are chances that you become very, very rich and you don't have to go to London.
You didn't just find those, you've been home.
Yeah, that's from here.
In his hand, he's got a dozen deep red stones, the size of large diamonds.
Oh, this is wonderful. I'm rich.
I'll go on.
The sound of the Hassanabad River, which flows down from the Hassanabad Glacier, curiously enough. And we're just taking a little stroll up the valley here, strewn with boulders, pretty bare, as most of these glacier valleys are, of course. Although if we look up to the left, there is a little cleft in the cliff face, and high up there are meadows where apparently there are shepherds and cattle, certainly in the summertime.
Yes, sir. There are living lot of shepherds people with goats and sheep and cows. They're making yogurt, they're making fresh cheese, they're making the wool of the sheep and goats. And then who was our Hunza traditional making capes. They are making a lot of butter, sir.
Are they?
We're using butter for winter time and for marriage time.
There was a landslip there, did you hear that?
Yes.
Some stones just falling down ahead of us, it's all right. What about food and drink in an area like this?
The food is better to avoid eating raw vegetables and unpeeled fruit.
We've ate between 16 and 20 rupees for each person.
16, 20 rupees, that's under 50 pence. It's like 40 or 50 pence.
That's including the whole meal and chai at the end.
A 3-hour drive from the lower Hunza Valley through the most incredibly stark, magnificent scenery, and the Hunza River turning to a most glorious blue above the confluence with the Shimshal Valley. The Shimshal Valley, incidentally, one of the exciting places of this area. Not so very many years ago, raiders used to come down and attack the caravans along the old Silk Route. But we have now arrived at Sust. This is the last frontier post before the Kunjarab Pass itself. A small village, but there are 1 or 2 hotels that I'm told are basic.
Okay.
Thank you. So another checkpost, another barrier lifted, and we're on our way again. The last leg now to the top of the pass, and this is where the climb really begins. This is where we discover whether or not we suffer from altitude sickness. But now the gorge is beginning to broaden out. You can see ahead. Although the gorge itself is in shadow, the afternoon sun is shining off the top of peaks that, according to my map, are something like 20,000 feet high. So even this far north of the spine of the Karakoram range, the mountains go on and on and on. And at last, here we are. 9 hours from Gilgit, 6 hours from the Hunza Valley. We've arrived at the top of the world, it seems.